Thanks for having me. I'm Jutta Kreyss. I joined the City of Munich in 2009, and at that point in time, I had been responsible as an IT architect for the Linux project. At that point in time, we developed and deployed the Linux workspace to the city up to 2017, when the City Council decided to switch again for the workspace of the whole city to Windows spec. So I stayed with the team, and in 2022, I moved from being IT architect for workplaces to IT architect for cloud. So the City of Munich established a measurement for digital sovereignty. We heard it already a couple of times this morning, but I hope you get a little bit more detailed now how we do it, how we define it, and perhaps also how it can help you and your organization really to be concrete and to apply it to your IT service stack. So let's have a look at. The story started in June last year. So that was a point in time when the City Council asked us with 3 different types of digital sovereignty. So this is the most important part for us because it requests that we measure the digital sovereignty of over our whole existing IT service portfolio. So the problem was for sure, everybody here is very well known with the definition of digital sovereignty, so it's different in Munich. So at that point in time, the first thing which we had to do is to check for a baseline. So which definition do we choose for digital sovereignty? And really then to establish in the next step a measurement, then to measure all the services. You have seen this definition already, I think at least twice today. The good thing is it's a really an old one. It was formulated in 2020 by the Fraunhofer Institute and reused by a lot of different people, IT Planungsrat and a lot of ministries and for sure for senders and whatever. So I think that is really a very good definition. What I heard there at the moment in the ministry, responsible ministry, they are working to improve it, to develop it further, but I think it's really fine as it is today. So what do we have? We have the ability and opportunity of individuals and institutions as we to exercise their roles in the digital world independently, self-determined and securely. So self-determined, so just the easy example, so I like to eat bread. So I can self-determinedly decide to which bakery I go. So, and if I try to be independent in eating bread, I try to get rid of the dependency. So I check for not buying bread, I go to baking bread, so I get rid of that dependency. Nevertheless, for sure, I stay with the dependency to flavor and for sure to the institution I get the electricity from. So this is, you really have to think what is important, where you like to go to. So when we have chosen, so just for you to imagine, so there is a city council and they have a request. And so we now in the OIT department have to answer this request. So, and we are generating a report and evaluating a method. And so we did now the first part. We have the definition for the lasting report. Everything has became to an end in January, end of January. The City Council improved what we had. And so therefore we are fine now to communicate it to everybody who likes to know it. So having the definition now, the question is how we measure digital sovereignty. And if we as an IT department of the City of Munich, we look into our content management database and we found more than 2,070 application services. Why application services? We have for sure business services, technical services, application services, and we need somebody who is capable to answer the questions we ask. So there is no technical person on business services and technical services. So we have to go up to the level of application services. So we saw it's really too much. At that point, it really has been 2,700, so we made a lot of rearrangements, so we are a lot better now, also due to the request of the City Council in June. And nevertheless, we need to set a focus. And really, that was really easy, because we are always looking which of the services we have are business critical. So, and then we decided, let's just take these. So we just ended up with 194 services we have to assess finally, instead of more than 2007 whatsoever. So we have a clear focus, also a business-oriented focus for our customers in the city of Munich. Now the next question was, what are the questions we ask the service owner of these application services? And we checked the market last year in summer up to October last year. But first of all, we formulated all the requirements we have. So we have the requirements that we have to evaluate our whole existing IT portfolio, not just one business or just the whole system or an organization. It's just all the different services we have. That was the first challenge. Then it's clear whom we can ask, the service owner, and therefore we have to be clear, precise, and just few questions, formulate few questions. So if you're familiar with public sector, you know, you get, as a technical person, you get a lot of administration stuff always on top. And you ask that one for this request for the city council and that one. And it's never decrease, it's always just increase these questions. And technical people don't like it. So therefore, we have to really reduce the amount of questions, reduce to the max. The next point is, if we are looking in the market, we have to select a method which makes a scoring which is transparent for us, because we have our own content management database, and we like to reconstruct the method for evaluating the scoring. So we have to read it, it's freely available, it's published, so we can use it. And at the end, the questions have to be special. They have to be so special that you can answer them with yes or no, because we like to evaluate them at the end automatically. So that was the challenge we had. And then we checked what was available at that point in time. And if anybody of you knows more of these measurements, I really would be happy to join me and let me know, because I'm always interested to see what's going on there. Because I know for sure I missed important things. The baseline is the Fraunhofer Institute 2020. Great work, conceptual report. Great, very good. Bad news, no questions. On the next one, and I think I have seen it in November last year, the Cloud Sovereignty Framework. And I hope to get the breakthrough when I read it, but they divided digital sovereignty in 8 different objectives, so such as strategy, legal, data, operational, technology, security, and each of them at least with 4 questions up to 6 questions. So they ended up with 39 questions. That's not practical, that's not usable for a city of Munich within a service owner. And the most important part is they are in comparison, so it's a consequence of the Fraunhofer Institute report. They assess an organization top-down, so with the processes, the skill of the people, the data, the infrastructure, and a little bit of software. And we really look from another side. We have all the software, and we have to assess the software. And the other things are for sure important stuff, but no answer to the request we got from the city council. So, and what I really was disappointed when I read the report is the framework. You can't answer these questions. A couple of questions really you have to write a one-page or whatsoever, so really far beyond any automatical evaluation. So what's next? For sure, a lot of paid consultation companies, organizations offer things. DISC has no conceptual base. At that point in time, it was available last year. So what I have seen now is that they try to sell, for sure, consultation. Avato does the same, Bechtle also. So this is, you don't see what they ask, you don't know how they measure it, you can't track it, you get no actions afterwards. So if you have enough money, perhaps it's a good choice, not for the City of Munich. And then there is a consultation, also by paid consultation by Bearing Point, but the difference is you can access all the questions here. 23 questions, the same approach, really a top-down approach to assess the whole organization. At least you get impulse from that. And what we finally had at the most, we used as our blueprint are the questions from digitalsovereignty.net. There are easy answerable questions which we took as blueprint, adopted, proved, and so changed. For sure, we changed it a lot, but this is a blueprint, and the credentials go to University of Munich to Professor Harald Wenes. Thanks a lot. So for sure, that's not all. Feel welcome to inform me about other approaches and concepts to measure digital sovereignty. So now we are fine, we have our questions. We have the blueprint, we reworked it, and now we can go through it and check it. So, just 7 questions, easy to answer. The first one, for sure, you know, it's always the goal that you can switch the company, you get the service from the organization, so interoperability to change the service provider. So the first question is does the software have the dominant market position within its category, so over 50%? And the next one is special for us because we are huge for a public sector. We are a huge organization within the IT, and we have to look for another enterprise service, or whether we can build it of our own with reasonable cost and effort. So these are the 2 first questions. Then we check for security regarding with software updates, an easy question. We ask whether it's open source, but not just a piece of just 2 or 3 or whatsoever libraries, but the whole service have to be open source, that you really can guarantee that you can switch the provider. And then 2 questions regarding standardizations, the API and the file format. And finally, last but not least, is the headquarter of the parent company of the software manufacturer or cloud service provider located in the European Union? So, for sure, for geopolitical reasons. And then how did we the evaluation? If you have a monopolist and you have no software alternatives, you end up in the worst degree, so in 5. And then for the next question, if you pass it, you go step by step through the questions and you get always 20% benefit and then the appropriate ranking of your service for which you answer the questions. So below, again, given the credentials to University of Würzburg. So that's now the whole picture we have. We have the 5 categories, we have our questions, we know what we assess, and where we end up. That's our ending up for our 194 services. So I'm really happy with the 66% with highly sovereign and largely sovereign services. And for sure, I always try to improve things. Therefore, I'm focused mostly on the 5th category. So that's the not sovereign part with 21%. And you know, if you answer the first entry questions and then you ended up in the 5. Which services do we have there? We have there services which we have to use by law. then services which we need to operate our infrastructure. Then we have services by a huge enterprise personal management company located in Europe. And we have a couple of small applications which are really requested by the, which are really specialized, which are requested by the different departments in our city. So we are proud to end up with that we as an IT department base on this current underlying questionnaire and the selection of the critical application services so that we find that we have a high degree of digital sovereignty. Keep in mind that's our version 1.0. So we have been requested to do it. We did it in a first version. Really, we like to improve it, develop it further. So let's see where we end up. So that's version 1.0. And when we, so in January, when for sure the source is in German, so if somebody like to check it, but thanks DeepL, you can easily translate even that German stuff. What we promised the City Council is that we are going to further develop it, the methodology, and that we're also integrating it into the processes of our public administration within the IT. And that we are going to report on it on an annual basis, and last but not least, also to name a representative for digital sovereignty. What opportunities do we have as an IP department? We can go now through these 194 services and check, are we going to accept the risk? Don't we accept the risk? Do we like to have any actions against to reduce the risk so that we make a decision what to do with these sovereignty, the result of the sovereignty, digital sovereignty checks? We put everything on the Creative Commons license, so you're welcome to use it, to adopt it, to spread it, to comment it. Feel welcome. And finally, thank you.
Thank you very much for the talk and for the work you do in Munich. Can you explain what critical processes mean? Is that something you have to do by law? And maybe a second question, if I may. The overview of the 1 to 5 classes, is there any evaluation how much a service is used if it's in class 5? So is it used by 100,000 people, or is it used by one person? Or is there some measure, maybe in euro or so, where you can see, I don't know, how hard the problem is to solve?
The difficult question is the second one. Let's give you an answer on the first question. What does business critical for a public sector mean? So we have 3 criteria. The first is our highest management of our city council we get rid of them for what reason? So the management, the highest management, disappears. So that's the first criteria of the business critical. So it's an ISO norm. Don't ask me for the numbers. So there is one. And but as a public sector, we don't care about that one because we just vote. So the next one is if we don't have the land of the organization, the land is going to be, we're going to lose the land. That's also not very likely within the city of Munich. But the third thing is that we are going to lose the people who are going to take the services, which are then going to be assessed as critical, business critical. So that for sure can happen. For example, if we have a registry with all people living in Munich, and if we lose this database. So the third criteria is a critical criteria, and this was the base we make the assessment of each new coming service within the IT service portfolio of the City of Munich. So that's where business criticality comes from. And the other point, you ask for a correlation between people and number of users of a service and the service itself. I think I already know that that's business critical. So even if I have just few people here and I would lose the service, so I lose a business critical service. So that's really impacting my business as City of Munich. So I really do not care how many people that is, because the main assessment is that it has been business critical. The other question is, you ask how difficult is it to get rid of this service. It depends on the service itself. If I have, for example, a service which is requested by law, that could change. Perhaps easily, I don't know. I'm not so familiar with the details in the government on that. But if we have something in the infrastructure, it's difficult to change, but it's our own stuff. For example, for sure, if a hypervisor increases the license, the charge of the license significantly, so for sure we have assessed that we check what alternatives we have. So that's really the thing, and that's baseline that impacts all of the services, because it's our hypervisor beyond. Don't know whether that's answered the question.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation of the figures, but that are figures. Now my question for your opinion. I remember when there was this bank crisis or financial crisis, the banks had to do some stress tests. What do you think? Would that also make sense, or could you imagine to have stress tests for City of Munich? What if to really get a testing? Okay, now because 21% on level 5 is nevertheless 21% on level 5, right? That you had, and the impact is the question: is 20% potentially making a bigger impact?
Yeah. We are good on answering technical questions. So we have two data center. We can do a failover, so that we're prepared very well. But we didn't think if we would all miss all these services, probably the 194 services, probably the City of Munich wouldn't exist any longer, so we wouldn't have a real different problem than keeping up alive these services. But to making to check a mental check what that would be if just one, for example, we have a lot of services regarding voting. Voting is just important when you vote. If you don't vote, so no problem. So it's also a question in time. So, but I think it's a very good idea really to think of scenarios and to go through which services are impacted when I have which scenario. So yeah, thanks.
Can you elaborate a bit on the consequences of this study? So now you have the baseline, you have the inventory and the criticalities. And do you have an outlook for the future for potential remediation plans, or what's up next?
What's up next is that we are going, first of all, to move the responsibility in our regular organization, so that there is a team which cares for this topic all over the time. So that's the first, really to have one to look for. And then these person then check which method are we going to do that in this way or in a different way. It depends whether, for example, which part of the organization it goes through. We have to report annually, so that's a fix. So these are the few parts what we already have fixed on what is sure so far. But probably if you ask me in 6 months, though, I know more.
Right. Now I can ask as a stage host a question myself, because I have the mic anyways. I happen to come from the Netherlands, where we have the Association of Municipalities. Is the work of the City of Munich also shared across Germany and across Europe via similar collaborations, where you share the material of what you find out about this research with other municipalities?
I would be very happy to do so. The initial publication has been in German. So that's the first talk in English on the topic. So it could be the actions ready to spread it further. You are welcome.
Uns Holländer können ja auch ganz gut Deutsch reden. So. All right, thank you, Jutta. And if there are no further questions, then I'd like to wrap it up. And thank you very much.
Thanks.